What's up guys, Everything Samsung Pro here, and today let's go ahead and discuss something entirely new, Samsung's new lineup, which pretty much every single detail has leaked, and in this video I wanted to bring it together, show you what Samsung's up to and what they're going to be announcing next month. So I was at Samsung Unpacked last year. It was really awesome. Got to see the Galaxy S10 series, even switched to this phone for a little while. And the S11 follow-up is almost here, except that's not what it's going to be called. It'll be the S20 series, and we should be seeing it here in just a little over a month. I'm really excited for it, namely because a lot of this tech is going to make its way over to the iPhone series within the next 1 to 3 years, namely the 120 Hz display, amongst other technologies. And it's very exciting to see what the competition is doing. You know, this isn't my first time doing these kind of videos, so for all the people saying Samsung Pro, you know, once in a while it's okay. Let's see what Samsung's up to. And I'd like to name the AirPods Pro winners, but the generator is still running so many entries. I'll have that on Phone Rebel Instagram in a story later tonight or tomorrow. Okay, and as you probably have seen, the full Galaxy S11 lineup has leaked, and I gotta switch over to S20. It's going to be a hard one, by On Leaks. So this was late in November. The entire lineup has leaked, although the camera orientation at first was wrong. So what you're seeing in some of these renders is based on that initial leak, but in the others, it's more accurate in the actual camera orientation. We'll talk about that in a second. But overall, the design remains mostly the same. The back of the phone, the glass actually swoops in a little tighter, closer to the screen. It's not a waterfall display, which is a big plus. A lot of people don't like those in actual usability. They look good, but they're not necessarily easier to use. The frame itself is a little bit thinner, takes inspiration from the Note 10 around the buttons. I like it, looks sleek. These phones always look more futuristic, a little bit thinner, a little bit sleeker than Apple's. The chin area has dropped down further, and the camera is now positioned directly in the center, like on the Galaxy Note series, with a smaller pinhole camera. Okay, so let me explain this naming and why it actually makes sense. Apple is doing something very similar with their lineup. So the Galaxy S10e is succeeded by the Galaxy S20. The S10 standard version is succeeded by the S20 Plus now, and the S10 Plus will be replaced by the S20 Ultra. And that's the flagship model, the largest of the bunch. Screen sizes will be 6.2, 6.5, and 6.7 inches on that Ultra. And there will be several differentiating features here, something Apple's doing also. So what they're doing is they're putting all of their best features into the biggest phone, and same thing here with the S20 Ultra. And there will be 5G versions of the S20 and S20 Plus. The S20 Ultra will be standard in 5G. So there will be technically 5 phones. And Apple is doing something very similar with their 2020 lineup, where there will be a non-5G and a 5G version, further adding to the complexity of the lineup, and they're supposed to have 5 or 6 phones in 2020. So you can see that these companies are switching over to a more diverse lineup, the one where you can get the feature you want, or not, and the price tag will probably reflect that. Now going further, I'll be bouncing back from reports by Ice Universe and Max Weinbach, but essentially the Galaxy S20 series all will have a 20:9 aspect ratio display, so they're growing in length. They'll look a little bit sleeker, and it's definitely something that I've always appreciated about the Galaxy series is they feel very, very futuristic. I love the aspect ratio on these guys. And via this screen protector leak, we can see those aspect ratios, the screen sizes right next to each other, and actually a good look at the earpiece cutout and how long it'll be. So considerably longer than before. I'm guessing we might have a speaker in there this time around. Now at this point, a 120 Hz organic LED display is all but confirmed for the Galaxy S20 lineup, as the Exynos 990 and the Snapdragon 865 all have room in the processor to actually run a display like this. Not to mention Samsung is making them now, and it was leaked in the One UI 2.0, so it's pretty much happening. And that's a good thing, because Apple will follow suit very quickly for the 2020 iPhone. And Max Weinbach says that the Galaxy S20 Ultra, the flagship, will only ship with the Snapdragon 865. If you want the Exynos 990, you'll have to go smaller on the S20 or S20 Plus. And of course, depending on which region you are, you'll either get the Snapdragon or the Exynos processor as usual. And with the Snapdragon 865, you can expect about a 20% increase in CPU and GPU performance over the Snapdragon 855 in the S10. As for RAM, you can expect 8 GB minimum, 12 GB likely on all the models, and there will be one version of the S20 Ultra with a terabyte storage and with 16 GB of RAM. By the way, all of the storage on the Galaxy S20 series will be Universal Flat Storage 3.0, so the fastest storage you can get in a smartphone today. Now, to compensate for that 120 Hz refresh rate display, Samsung will be launching massive batteries in the Galaxy S20 series. So an actual leak shows a 5,000 milliamp capacity on a battery destined for the S20 Ultra. Definitely makes sense. Both Apple and Samsung will be upgrading their batteries in order to make room for that 120 Hz battery hog. And also in a report by The Elec, one I mentioned in an earlier iPhone leaks video, is that the Galaxy lineup this year will all be using new battery protection modules, same as the 2020 iPhones. They take up less space inside of the phone, allowing for that massive 5,000 milliamp battery on the S20 Ultra. As for charging capability, it's rumored the Ultra will be capable of 45 watt wired charging with 25 watt wired charging on the other models and a reverse wireless charging on the back capable of 15 watts. That's higher than the current 9 watts available. And wireless charging is to be 18 watts capable. As for the fingerprint sensor, it'll still be using the same technology, ultrasonic, but now Samsung has partnered with Qualcomm to include a larger sensor that'll be 25% of the screen size, not only faster, but also more secure. So that's always a good thing to see improvement in many areas. I did think the spot was too small. Now it'll be a little bit more comfortable not having to press into the exact same spot on the screen every single time. Oh, and also the S10e replacement, the S20, will no longer have a fingerprint sensor on the side in the button. It'll now be in the screen as well. So more standard features for the entry-level model. Okay, now we get to the good stuff, good but crazy, the lens and camera capability of the Samsung Galaxy S20 series. It looks like Samsung really wants to show its prowess, and with their new 108 megapixel sensor, they're absolutely going to blow the iPhone out of the water, but also with their crazy looking lens. I did not think anyone could top Apple, but Samsung really has. That lens it's huge. So at first it looked a bit messy, then later on we found out the true orientation of that lens, and it does look a little bit cleaner, but it's huge. It's this platter on the back of your phone. Then again, what does it matter? You're not going to be looking at it that much. You're using it to take pictures. Yeah, it may not look the best, most aesthetically pleasing, but it'll take some amazing pictures. So the Ultra is rumored to have a 108 megapixel sensor, which Samsung currently produces, as well as periscope zoom with 48 megapixels on that sensor. And that's capable of 5 times zoom. Samsung actually showed off this module a while ago. It's awesome, 5 millimeters thin, and it'll be capable of some amazing far shot photos as it's optically stabilized. Now, also shown in that leaked code by Max Weinbach, you'll be able to record 8K video at 30 frames per second. Now, I highly doubt even 5% of my viewers have an 8K capable display, but 8K is already being thrown around everywhere, marketing terms. I guess it's good to future-proof your video that you record today and be able to watch it back perfectly a few years from now when you have everything upgraded to 8K, but still, that's awesome. And theoretically, with that new sensor, you'll be able to record 120 frames per second at 4K. That's crazy. Oh, and that 48 megapixel periscope zoom will be called Space Zoom, and it'll be available on the Ultra, of course, and possibly on the standard S20 Plus, not the S20. And there are a host of other features that Samsung is adding in conjunction with all of these hardware changes, most of them focused on the camera, of course, as that'll be the primary selling point of Samsung's phones this year. Number one is a Pro Video mode. So Samsung is giving you back manual control of certain settings in video mode on the S20 series, such as shutter speed, exposure, color tone, and ISO. And a new feature, Director's View, will allow you to record on several lenses at the same time, and then in post easily switch between them amongst a host of other features. And actually, if you want to get into detail on all of those, I'll leave the links to Max's write-up down below. And there will be custom filters using a photo. So your camera app will be able to analyze a photo that you may like, you've seen somewhere, and it'll get certain values from it, such as hue and saturation, and that way when you take a picture, yours will look somewhat like the one that you specified to the camera. That's actually pretty neat. And there will be a single take photo mode where throughout 15 seconds, your phone will record video and take photos simultaneously of some big event that's happening, and then it'll split everything up for you. Apparently that's one of the big ones he found. And Samsung is adding battery health to the Galaxy S20 series. So something we had in the iPhone for a couple iOS versions already. Essentially, you'll be able to monitor your battery health, know when it's time for replacements, and see ways to optimize and keep it lasting longer. Also, the S20 lineup will have super steady optical image stabilization, which is supposedly the best in class, and so far there's no phone better than what the Galaxy S20 can do stabilization-wise. And earlier today, the Galaxy Note 10 and S10 Lite were released. They also feature that square lens on the back, a little teaser before the S20 series gets released, and then of course the center mounted hole punch display. As for announcement date, we're looking at February 18th, possibly the 11th, but more than likely the 18th. I hope to be there reporting on the Galaxy S20 series, and I hope that this will be our first phone we release the Phone Rebel case for eventually after release. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. I'll have those giveaway winners tonight on Phone Rebel. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace.